The game that nobody wanted. I think this is the perfect description for Firewalk Studios and Sony PlayStation's game called Concord. And this is a game that has been in development for almost 5 years and has all the money and resources backing it. And the fact that this game is coming out to a lukewarm response, beyond lukewarm, where nobody is actually playing this game, is just showing that the video game industry is in a tight spot where it doesn't know what the fan base wants, nor does it even care. And I think that is the prime thing that we're seeing with Concord. We see a developer that doesn't care about what the gamer actually wants and is more focused on what they want. And I think this is what we get from Firewalk Studios and their reaction to the abysmal gamer response to the release of Concord. If you don't know what's happening with Concord, upon its release, it came out with some low numbers that should have been an indication during its beta, where it barely scratched 2,000 people playing, and now that it has been released, it's barely scratching over 700 people playing. And I think that's the craziest thing that we're getting from Concord, that is getting lower numbers than its beta release, where people that played the beta are not coming back to play this game upon its final release. And I think this is just showing the overall response from the gaming audience, where they're saying this game is not for me, and I'm not too sure why you made this game. I think it comes down to the overall perspective of the developers themselves, where they're making this game as a response, a declaration of their personal progressive politics. They want to use this as a mirror of influence within the video gaming industry, and that seems to be the case for a lot of games in the industry right now. And I think when you look at some of the character models and designs, you clearly see a perspective that they're trying to make something that is out of the marketability of most video gaming audiences, where people are not going to give you a perfect response to the character designs because the character designs are utterly unappealing and ugly. And I think this is a response that a lot of people are seeing with this game, where it is trying to enforce these body dysmorphic views. It's trying to enforce all these elements in modern day political society into a video game, and the gamers notice this and they have their response, where they're just quickly not playing your game. And I think out of anything, I would say the character designs are the most unappealing. I think if they had beautiful character designs, people would come and play this game, but you made characters in a way to fit your own political progressive ideology, and now we're seeing that response by players avoiding your game. And I think that is the simplest conclusion I can come down to this game. None of the character models look good, and I think if the character models did look good, people will come and play this game. The gameplay is not absolutely abhorrent, it's not terrible, but I think the character designs are completely unappealing. Who wants to play as a 60-year-old Chinese grandma? It's just offensive to actually want the game players to engage in your game, purchase skins based on these character designs that are not in a form that is actually appealing to the majority of the fan base. I think this is what is coming down to the situations that we're seeing in the industry, where people are sacrificing the overall look and appeal and the marketability of the game to enforce their own political standards. I think this is the biggest case point for Concord, where it sacrificed its overall marketability just to have these political progressive points in hand. And I think that is a situation that is growing throughout the industry, and you can see this dynamic be supported by all the gaming journalists and gaming magazines that are out there, where they're trying to force people to give this game a chance even though they've already rejected it. You can see this with IGN, some of the posts where they just say give Concord a chance, it's a good game, you have to support it. You see it being supported all over the gaming social media websites, because they kind of work hand in hand now, where these gaming journalists are the political progressive activists as well, and they're trying to foment and engage the games that they want to be representative of the gaming culture and support them. And you can see this interaction with Concord all throughout the gaming industry, where every single gaming site and developer is trying to support this game because it reflects their moral and progressive values. And the fact that it's failing at this massive rate is just showing that their ideals are not marketable and that the gamers are rejecting it. And of course, this is leading to a massive backlash from the developers, where they are attacking the fan base for not supporting the game. You can see this with social media gaming journalists as well, where they're calling the gamers that are rejecting their game talentless freaks that need to stay in their grandmother's basement or something. And this is the thing that we see with these gaming developers that don't get their way with the gamers. They attack the gamers themselves, they hate the gamers themselves, and it's evident when you see the games that develop. They have no incentive of actually catering to the gamer. I think the gamers actually notice this, and that's why the games that they create and produce are rejected summarily. And I think that is the case that we're seeing all throughout the video gaming industry, where people are noticing that the developers don't like them, that they actually hate them, that they think they're freaks, that they don't want to make games for gamers anymore. They want to introduce a new audience to the gaming world that don't buy games, that are not interested in games. And I think that is the focal point of developers like Firewalk Studios. They want to make a new audience when that audience is not there for them. The modern audience is not there to buy games, or there even selectively to support your game. And I think that's what we're seeing with the whole modern audience trope now, where no one is actually showing up for the games that are being produced and made for the modern audience. And I think that is exactly what's happening with Concord, where it's making things for an audience that doesn't exist. And you can see the opposite of this with Korean developers, where they're making games for the gamers. You can see this with the first Descendant and their overall models and designs, where it's captivating game players and it's sustaining an overall player base of over 125,000 people playing this game consistently, even after a month after its launch. And it just goes down to character designs. I don't think the gameplay is substantially better than Concord. I think it is better, but I think it's being made with a care for the gamers and marketability that is in concern of the gamers that are playing the game. And I think that's what we evidently see with the first Descendant. It's something that is being made for gamers, and it is being made in such a way where it's gaining that success that it deserves. And unfortunately for Concord, it's not in that position with the character models, where it's making designs that are atrocious and not appealing to anyone other than a smaller modern audience fan base that doesn't care about video games. You can see this all throughout the market. Games like Redfall, like Concord, like Dustborn are at the bottom of the bin when it comes to games that are popular among the fan base of gamers. And you can see Black Myth Wukong, a new game that is only focusing on appealing to its fan base, is breaking records. And you can see that dichotomy spread and clearly show that when you make games for gamers and that marketability of character designs and models, you get a perfect response from the gamers where they support your game. And I think that is the opposite of what we're getting with Concord, where Concord is unable to make a game that can be supported by the gaming audience, and that the mythical modern audience they're searching for really doesn't exist. And I think that's the essential thing that we have to see about the modern video gaming fan base. They're still the same as the old video gaming fan base. They want good games that look good. And I think we see this with the Capcom election results, where we have over 250,000 players vote on what they want to see in gaming. This happened just this past year, where they voted with their mindset, where they voted with their wallet, and they voted with their interests in mind, where they say they want great gameplay. Of course, that's always going to be the core for any game, but in second place was unique and attractive characters. This is what the game players actually want to see in their gaming. And I think that is the thing that a lot of game developers are ignoring nowadays. They're ignoring the unique and attractive characters. And apparently with some of the games that are being released now by these studios that are more political progressive, that are supported by Sweet Baby Inc., they simply don't have exhilarating gameplay. You can just look at Flintlock, you can just look at Dustborn, you can just look at Concord. The gameplay is not that great. And I think that just shows that you're getting games that are not being made by game players. And I think it's reflected back on what we're seeing from the responsive gamers, where they're just choosing not to play these games anymore. And I think that is the thing that we have to see forward in the future with a lot of these games failing nowadays, like Concord, because game players are showing that they're going to do what they want with their wallet, and they're supporting Black Myth Wukong, and they're not supporting Concord. But those are just my 2 cents on the situation. Tell me what you think is the root of this problem, why nobody wants to play Concord. I think it's the character designs. Like I showed you, the first Descendant, I think is just slightly better gameplay wise, but character wise, the models look absolutely amazing. And you do a comparison with the models that we're seeing in Concord, they look absolutely terrible. But you leave a comment, tell me what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is Wagner Knows Why. Catch you next time.